Welcome to another episode in our CEO series here on Learn, Grow, Invest. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with David Henriques, Chief Executive Officer for Ultra Financier Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Dollar Financial Services Limited, a company which we've covered a few times here on this channel. So David has direct oversight of sales, operations, and business development, and has so far led the company to a tremendous year-end. So we see their loan book has already surpassed 250 million. So we're going to be hearing about his journey, his experience in sales, and of course, we're going to learn more about Ultra. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get started.
Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N. Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.
All right, so welcome back. Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day and for the ability to produce wealth. We pray that you will make this a meaningful session. May we learn a lot. May we make wise investment decisions. And we pray that you will bless this community in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everyone, it's good to see you again. Please join me in welcoming David. David, how are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. We've wanted you on the show for some time, so we're happy that we're finally, able to make it happen. So what we're going to do is just ask a series of questions. We're going to start with a little bit about your background. So, introduce yourself and tell us your path to being CEO of Ultra.
So my name is David Henriques. I'm 33 years old. I am currently in the role of CEO of Ultra Financier, but I am just the average guy. I went to Peter and Paul Prep, left there, went to Campion, where I think my parents will be very honest and say I was not the best student at Campion College. My focus at Campion College was playing football and playing cricket as much as possible. So that was really my high school journey. I studied the sciences because I wanted to go to med school. So left high school after Cape and went to the University of Western Ontario in Canada, where I studied biology as my stepping stone to hopefully go into med school. Chemistry and I had a massive hate relationship. And I would say in about second year of university, I think we realized that we didn't really have much of a future together.
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized that med school was definitely not going to be happening. So kind of hit an interesting crossroads, I'd say, where, it was a toss-up between changing degrees and staying for another 2 years, or, basically starting over, or just finishing my biology degree and then figuring it out. So I know my parents were probably not too amused with that, but what do you do? So I spent my university life, really working. I worked as much as I could, got as many hours as I could working as a referee for intramural football. So that was really my focus then, and just to work as hard as possible to get it done. And that's the day I finished my last exam. I came home and, I did an interview with a company, and I said if I didn't get an answer from them within a week, then I would have to start working with my family company, which I was lucky enough to have as a fallback on. So I started working with my family company, Kingston Industrial Agencies, which focus on heavy machinery, industrial and agricultural equipment. So I just threw myself into that full time, trying to learn the business from ground up, doing everything, merchandising, if it meant being out in the service shop, assembling equipment, anything to be done, I was there working. And I think I would say I've always had a fairly good work ethic, so that has basically been my driving force. When I couldn't figure things out, you work hard. So I spent 3 years there, and then got an opportunity to leave and go and work with Thwaites Vincent Sharp Insurance Brokers, and grab that opportunity with both hands, and made the most of it. So I would say, if you asked me 8-9 years ago, what's my 5-year plan, I would have said, I'd have been senior in some insurance company, because that was then my focus. So did that for 3.5 going on 4 years, and got an opportunity at ATL, playing some Curry Goat cricket, and got a phone call saying, hey, why don't you, come give ATL a chance? So, I was obviously a little hesitant, because, nobody ever wants to switch jobs and, switch industries. And, when I met at ATL, they were saying, Porsche. And I was like, boy, who's going to buy a Porsche in Jamaica? That's an expensive car.
I guess you answered that question, right?
All right. So, how am I going to meet targets? How am I going to make any money? Or what kind of move is this? But, I saw a path for quick growth, and very stable growth, not necessarily with Porsche, but with ATL. ATL is a really strong group with really strong leaders. So, I said, all right, I'm going to do this. So at December 2017, I left the insurance industry and joined the automotive industry. And it was hit the ground running. When I got to Porsche, it was an interesting situation, overstocked, model year changing. So it was interesting. So it was definitely going to be hard, but I saw the potential for it to be fun, to learn a lot, and the ability to network with the right people was paramount.
I'm guessing that's one of the things Dollar might have been looking at and found valuable, right?
Exactly. And you meet so many people, you see a different side of things, and at the end of the day, selling a motor vehicle, $30 million and above, you aren't selling them a car. They know what they can buy. They know what they want to buy. So you're basically facilitating this deal for them. And so what you really have to do is build a relationship. And
it's more relationship management and less selling.
Exactly. And that's always been a fairly strong suit of mine. I would say I'm a good salesman, but I would say I'm better at building relationships than necessarily selling. You will buy from me because you probably trust me, and I'm not gonna do anything to try and break that trust. So I spent 4.5, going almost 5 years at ATL. I had an amazing time. Sold a bunch of cars, met some amazing people, forged relationships that I think I will definitely have for a lifetime.
So we have you to thank for all the Porsches that we're seeing driving around Jamaica. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as I said, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, the opportunities that I got, working with ATL and at Porsche are phenomenal. I couldn't second guess it. It was amazing. And while at ATL is when I met Kadeem. I met Kadeem, I would say, within maybe my first 3 months.
Yes, because Kadeem drives a Porsche as well. So he probably, okay.
So, I mean, my story meeting Kadeem is, I don't know if many people know it, but I think it's absolutely hilarious. But it just shows the character of Kadeem, and I think it was clear that we would have gotten along from day one. I mean, he walked into the showroom as if he owned it one day. He parked his Axio outside and came in and said, I'm going to buy a Porsche. And I said, okay, how you plan to do this? What you drive now? But, he told me, don't worry, he's buying one. And for some reason, you read somebody's personality, and I just believed he was going to buy one. So he said, you have to give me a keyring and you have to give me a hat because I'm going to own a Porsche. and you would see him out all the time with his Porsche keyring hanging from his jeans pocket, with his Axia key attached to the Porsche keyring. And he
Yeah.
came in multiple times, and we kept in touch, and he bought a car eventually, and we became good friends.
Yeah.
And a couple months ago, maybe the middle of last year, he gave me a call and said, I have an opportunity for you. Hear me out. I'm not really planning on leaving ATL now. Things are cruising at Porsche. We're finally in a great stable position. I'm not leaving ATL now. But he said, hear me out. And we were supposed to link up on that Saturday. We didn't get a chance to. And on the Sunday, I went to play cricket. I don't know where he was. And then we ended up bucking up at a bar on Sunday night. And I said, you remember what for talk? And he said, no, man, we're going to talk. We're going to talk now. So I'm like, we're in a bar on a Sunday night. We're not going to talk now. We're like, no. He said, no, we're going to talk now. I was sat down at the bar and we had a conversation. He showed me the concept of the business. And he was like, think about it, but I'm serious. So I said, all right, no problem, whatever. That was Sunday night. Monday morning, I woke up. I woke up to a WhatsApp message from him. I don't even know if he was awake at that time. And he said, I'm very serious. This is what we're looking at. And at that point, having known Kadeem, known what he's done, known his personality,
Yeah.
it makes you sit down and you really think about it. And having been in the space at Porsche for 5 years, almost 5 years, the abilities of the net worth of the people in this country, and therefore anytime you think something is not possible, it probably is possible. You just need to figure out the right avenue to get it done. So I thought about it for a while. And I mean, it took me a long time to give him a final answer, because it was
How long it took? Like a month?
No, man, I want to say it probably took the better part of 2.5 months for me to finally make the decision. I mean, and it also helped, so Chris Young from First Rock Private Equity, we've been friends since high school. And, I sat down with him and he was like, we're doing this and we're going to do something good. And he's like, make the jump.
Yeah.
So, I spoke to a couple of my mentors and, they said, David, why not? Why not? So I made the jump, and my last day at ATL was August 31st. And my first day at Ultra was the 1st of September. And we hit the ground running.
Okay, nice. All right. So thank you for that interesting story. I think we learned, about you, and we also learned, a little bit about Kadeen as well. So, pretty cool there. In terms of, so introduce us to Ultra for those who may not have, heard about it before. Introduce us to Ultra.
So Ultra is a boutique financier that caters to high net worth individuals. We are an asset-based financier. So you will use your luxury assets, your cars, your houses, your watches, handbags, jewelry as the collateral to secure a loan. We are focused on speed. We are focused on integrity, honesty. These, I think, are the most important attributes when dealing with anybody in any form of business. And so that's really our focus. And so we are here to service and I think a fairly untouched sector of the market.
Yeah, I mean, we've never, heard about something like that. Not in this region anyway. I imagine that there may be, similar companies across the globe, but certainly not in this region have we heard about any such companies. So, so you mentioned high net worth client. Is there a minimum to be considered high net worth client?
So not necessarily. I mean, right now we're working on a minimum of 500,000. So yes, that is not necessarily, in the grand scheme of things, high net worth. But what we are trying to say is that you must have assets to back these loans.
Yeah.
And then especially with the introduction of the Microcredit Act, that now that bars the micro financial institutions from lending to a certain net worth of individual, which is now where Ultra will come in to service that sector.
Okay, so the plan is that ultra. So what specifically does the act limit, and where do you start in terms of ultra? Is it that if the cap is, let's say, at 500,000, you start there to not overlap with dollar? Is that how it works?
So the lending amount is not necessarily the issue. It's more of the net worth of the client, actually.
Okay.
And so therefore, there's a certain threshold on the actual net worth of the individual, which is where the Microcredit Act speaks to. So therefore, where dollar stops is where Ultra begins.
Okay, okay. So you can do loans pretty much for any amount. You're just going to be targeting those who are high net worth, so as not to necessarily operate in the same space as dollar.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, we Ultra and Dollar will work together to take over the market. I mean, that's our aim. We didn't come here to be average players in the game. So what Ultra can therefore help Dollar with, and then what Dollar will help Ultra with, will work together to
Okay.
to to make it
So
to make it work.
So what made you think? I mean, you and Kadeen think this was a valid market opportunity. I mean, what was the data you were looking at, or what were you seeing that maybe no one else has seen before?
So, I mean, I can't even take credit for this one at all. So this is definitely Kadeen's brainchild. He had looked at the companies overseas that have been successful with the business model and realized that that business model is not here. And he's been in the microfinancial space for such a long time, that I guess his experiences and his outlook to I mean, his outlook is phenomenal. So his outlook, he picked up on that as a massive gap in our market, and he didn't second guess it. And I guess he figured, David has spent enough years dealing with high net worth individuals.
Yeah,
Come on over.
yeah, man. A key piece is definitely the network for sure, because then it ensures that you're not starting from scratch, because it would have taken, I guess, longer to have certain sales being brought in if you have to build relationships from scratch. So
Exactly.
that makes sense. So in terms of products and services for Ultra, we know it's financing, but are there different categories of loans? What is there anything that distinguishes the products that you offer?
So no, we don't have necessarily different products. Where I think that we would mostly categorize our setup is basically what collateral you choose to bring. You can use property, you can use cars, you can use your luxury items such as jewelry, watches, etc. You can use your yacht. So there's a wide variety of assets that can be used and that we will accept as collateral. So that's basically how we would categorize it. Because whatever you choose to do with your money, if you're developing something, if you're buying stock, no matter what you're doing with your money, that's your focus. We are here to facilitate, and therefore, finance you.
Okay. But I guess then certain types of loans, I guess maybe more attractive than others, or I guess it's based on, so I guess the type of asset determines the interest rate. Is that how it works?
No, not necessarily. Our interest rates, we have a very small variance in our interest rates, really and truly. But what will really vary is the loan to value ratio that you will receive on your asset.
Okay.
We will value your asset, and then we will give you a loan to value ratio that will lean more to the ease of liquidation if we have to.
Yeah.
So that is really where I would say it boils down to how easily we can liquidate this asset if needs be.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? Because at the point that you're ready to liquidate, it means that it's now considered bad debt. So it's not necessarily, it's valued $10, we're selling it for 10. It's valued 10, but we know we can liquidate it easily for 5. So we're gonna value it at 5, that kind of thing.
So basically, we want to give ourselves some kind of a buffer. We have to. So if it's valued at 10, we may lend you 5, but when it's time to sell, we may not be able to get the 10 as quickly as we'd want. We can't necessarily wait a year to sell an item. So we may then say, all right, you know what? We're going to bite the bullet. We're going to sell at 8. We're going to recapture our 5 and you can have your 3.
So do you have to agree on that sale value with the client, or you have full control to say, well, we're going to get the best price we can get for it, we clear your loan, and then you get the balance?
No, I mean, we have all rights at that point to sell for what we need to sell for. But in the interest of relationships, I think it's definitely something that we will discuss and liaise with the client, if we reach that point in time, because we don't want to burn any bridges. We're really.
And I imagine that may be a last resort kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you never know what situation people get themselves into, or what misfortunes may happen. That yes, this loan may not have worked out for them, so yes, we will liquidate that asset. But that doesn't mean that may not be another repeat customer who may then have, a great reputation in our lending space moving forward.
Okay, makes sense, right? Because you started by saying it's about relationships, so you want to ensure that you're nurturing that customer for a long time.
Correct.
So it's just one customer segment for ultra high net worth clients, that's it? Do you target specific industries, or anything like that, maybe for where the client might work? Or is it once you could be considered classified as a high net worth client, that's your target? Is that?
Yeah, basically. That's basically our target. I mean, anybody who could be considered as high net worth is basically who we're targeting. We haven't targeted any industry specifically. We have been approached by multiple industries and players in the different industries to partner with. So we're in the process of fleshing out some of those partnerships. But at the end of the day, Ultra is your boutique lender. So we're here for all who need it and fit into our category and have the assets to back it.
Okay, we're gonna get to partnerships a little later on, because I'm definitely interested in hearing more about that. In terms of the delivery method for the loans, is it? I imagine. Tell us about location. How do persons engage you for business? And I know Kadeen had mentioned that Dollar has a digital focus. Is it the same for Ultra? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So our focus is definitely digital. We are trying to make it as seamless and as easy for our customers as possible. So we don't want to say to them, hey, you have to drive to our office to conduct business. You call us, we will come and see you. If we have to do it over the phone, if we have to set up a Zoom meeting, anything for us to be able to help you through and get you your loan and get you the financing that you need is basically how we are approaching it. We do have an office. We're located at suite number 15, Barbican Business Center, which is 88 Barbican Road. There is a Dollar branch in this complex, but we are, further up the back. So we do have an office. So if someone does want to come in and meet with us, we are here. But, we are trying to make it as seamless and as easy for our customers as possible.
Okay. All right. So in terms of, let me take some of the questions from our community members here. So Elaine was asking, is Ultra on Dollar's books? Will this benefit persons who are Dollar shareholders? I think Trevine might have answered that, but
the benefit that you will have to Dollar shareholders is that you are now in the family of Ultra. So when Ultra does decide to move forward, you are a part of the family. But we have separate books.
Okay. All right. Omar is kind of preempting some of our questions here, but any plans to go public in the future?
Yes, I would say so. We're still trying to flesh out everything, but as a loan company, we need the capital to lend, and that is obviously a great way for us to raise good capital.
Okay. So any timeline maybe for that potential listing?
No timeline as yet, but I would say keep focused on us. We're
Okay.
gonna be here.
All right. Aline is asking, how do you value the assets that you keep for clients?
All right, so the valuation process, it obviously depends on the type of asset. So our motor vehicles will be valued through the traditional motor valuators, your MSC McKays, your ABCs, your auto assessors, all these valuation companies. They will accept them for motor vehicles, and the same for property. There are tons of property evaluators in this country, and we do accept the majority of them. In regards to boats, we are in the process of formulating our partnership with MSC McKay as our evaluator for yachts and pleasure crafts. And then we've partnered with Bijou, who will be our evaluator for watches, jewelry, etc.
All right. So I was gonna ask you, well, based on the question that you're just answering, do you take digital assets as well?
Digital assets meaning
So let's
cameras
say
and
let's say I have an NFT or I have some other, digital currency that
oh
is valued a certain amount.
no, we have not gotten into that yet. We do take stocks.
Okay.
Stocks and bonds are definitely accepted. And obviously the valuation process for that is a little easier. Um, but
Is it,
but
is,
yeah,
is it a set percentage like the portfolio is valued at 1 million? You can
it,
get
it
up to this
also it
amount.
also depends on I would say the loan to value ratio for a stock will also depend on the strength of that stock.
Okay. So
So,
how do you determine the strength of a stock? You're making me curious now. So for example, if I have dollar shares in my portfolio, you'd value that.
well, those are the strongest ones. Those are the
All right,
safest ones.
all right. All right, next question here from Limitless Podcast. What's your most popular loan? I think you've kind of addressed this before, that there's no kind of segmentation for loans really. It's just based on what the
Um,
client is asking for.
right. But if you're also asking, our most popular collateral at the moment, I would say the most popular collateral right now is property. People
Okay.
have been borrowing most against property.
Okay. So do you find persons think it's easier than getting, for example, a home equity loan?
It's faster, that's for sure. Um, it all boils down to, I think, how quickly you need to access these funds, and obviously what your plans are for the funds. If you're, let's say, borrowing funds to develop a property, you're flipping that quickly. So it suits you to come, get it fast, get it done, and move on.
Okay.
Sometimes the traditional banks can take a little while to process your loan, etc. So, yeah, I think it's really about the speed of how quickly we can get you the funds.
All right. Thank you. So Trevine is saying to Aline's question, Ultra does consolidate into dollar and will certainly benefit the dollar shareholders. I think, Trevine probably knows this better than anyone else. So we'll take her word for it there. Aline is asking, how do you plan to offload these assets in the event of a loan default? Aline, I think you might have been here from the start, so we did answer this one. So I'm going to move on here. Next question from Limitless Podcast. Do you plan to issue any bonds this year?
So, we are looking at the best way to raise our capital. So whether, there's a bond, whether we list, there are options in discussion right now, because
Okay.
we'll have to access some capital to lend.
Okay. All right. And we'll get to, where you see those projections and all of that a little bit soon. Limitless Podcast is asking, do you have any competitors in Jamaica or the Caribbean that deals with this type of asset-based lending?
In Jamaica, we are the main asset-based lender, especially I would say with the wide range of collateral that we accept. In the Caribbean, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm I couldn't answer that honestly. I have no idea what the other Caribbean countries are currently doing.
Okay. All right. Next question is, what is from Limitless Podcast again? What is the typical rate at which you lend against an equity portfolio on the JSE? You did mention that depending on the strength of the stock.
All right.
Is it a particular? Can you give us a range, maybe?
Our loan to value ratio will range from, I would say, 40 to 60%, give or
Okay.
take.
Okay. All right. Paper Plate is asking, so is Ultra directly underwriting these loans?
Yeah, so we utilize the underwriting team of Dollar. So I mean, we don't have our own underwriting team, but we do have our Dollar underwriting team that handles our processes.
Okay. Okay. And final question for now is by Russell. He's asking, are members of the diaspora eligible for loans from Ultra provided they reach the high net worth threshold? Like, can I call you up from Trinidad and ask for a loan, or any other country in the region, to get a loan?
Once we can meet the necessary KYC, documentation that we need to handle, then yeah.
So I could send over my documents, and you are willing to send that money to me without me having to come in person?
Yeah, I mean, once we can finalize all the proper documentation, once we can, assess the collateral and do the necessary due diligence processes, then yes.
Okay, great.
I mean, we have a number of customers I've never met in person.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so next set of questions from us are about partnerships and collaborations. So you mentioned some partnerships earlier. Are there any key partnerships that you can share with us that would give Ultra an advantage?
I would say one of our most key partnerships will be someone like Bijou, especially because they have been in the space of luxury assets, jewelry, watches, precious stones, etc. I mean, that is definitely, something new for all of us. I mean, I would never think to say, oh boy, I can collect a Rolex or a AP as collateral and be able to sell it myself. Absolutely not. They are the professionals in that field, and therefore, we will benefit from their partnership. MSC McKay, who have been, valuing yachts and pleasure crafts for years. These are the people that we want to affiliate with. That I think will also help to strengthen our brand.
Okay. I also noticed, and I've been following Ultra on social media ever since a company was announced. I noticed that there's always some event or activity that the Ultra team is at. Is that a dedicated strategy that you go for? What are some of the things that you do to, I guess, maybe connect with your customers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything that we do is very strategic. We want to be in the space with high net worth individuals, and therefore we have to present ourselves in the space to make ourselves visible to them. We don't necessarily, we may not be targeting that particular person who, attends the event, but then they will be able to say to someone, hey, oh, I know what you're looking for, Ultra is who you need to contact. We want to be in the space with them. And, these are events that we really do enjoy. So, we were at the Caymanos Corporate Golf Challenge on Saturday, and it was a great turnout, great event, absolutely great networking for us. And, these are things that we definitely enjoy.
Okay. All right. In terms of, region-wide expansion, same along the line of maybe partnerships, do you see yourself partnering with persons maybe across the region in terms of, getting those same opportunities? So some of the partners that you mentioned in Jamaica, maybe they have locations across the region. Have you considered expanding those partnerships?
Definitely. I mean, we definitely want to expand regional and obviously then worldwide. We're not trying to limit ourselves to being here. We definitely want to expand. So therefore, we'll take a look into the best strategic partnerships that will benefit us all, and continuously, because this is a brand that is going to be here for a long time.
Okay, so let's get into some of the numbers and plans for growth. So we spoke about, you answer the question that there is potential in listing. What's been revenue so far, and what does profit currently look like?
So our target for the first 12 months will be a revenue of around 125 million. And I would say that would drop our profits in and around the 25 to $30 million region, give or take. And so therefore, on a 3-year plan, we're definitely looking, and I think we do have the potential to triple that, especially with the fact that the Microcredit Act has now come out, which will therefore, for lack of a better word, force a lot of the people who work with the other institutions out of those institutions, and therefore, come on over to Ultra. It's a nice place over here.
Okay, so in terms of expansion, footprint, in terms of team size, because I know the Ultra team is fairly small right now. How do you see that team being built out over the next 12 months to 24 months?
So currently we have 2 employees, myself and my VP of sales, Mario Brown, in Montego Bay. So he will handle the Montego Bay and the western side of things, and I will handle here. But we will slowly build out. I believe in the early stages that a company should focus and almost get to the point where you're almost overworking the individuals in the company to maximize and get it done, to make sure it makes sense to then slowly grow the team. So of course we're looking at growth. If it means that we'll have 2-3 people in Kingston, then 2-3 people in Montego Bay, and see where else on the island it can be strategically done. But with a business model like this, and the fact that we want to cater to our customers, so make them feel so special that we'll get in a car and drive to them wherever they are on the island. It's nice to have this kind of boutique feel where there's not a branch everywhere that somebody's popping into. We're going to come to you and give you that white glove service.
Okay, so it's more about, I guess, when you get to the point where you're having back-to-back meetings, and you say, well, you can't really manage that load, then you get another person.
Exactly.
While trying to stay as lean as you possibly can so that you can maximize profits. Okay. All right, so you have $1 financial services in Guyana. Are there plans to open an Ultra location in Guyana, or at least maybe provide the service through that $1 location?
Yeah, definitely. We are obviously going to take a look to see if the Ultra brand will suit the space in Guyana. But once it can be sustained in Guyana, then yes, I think that would be an easy move for us, seeing as we do have dollar in the space already. But we will also be looking into the other Caribbean islands that are quite affluent.
Okay.
So in terms of the Caymans, the Bahamas, these other islands.
So you said you started. So Ultra was started officially September 1. Is that correct?
Ultra's first official day of business was November 1st.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I just wanted to get an idea of the financial year. So in terms of when we may hear more about Ultra, how you've been performing, and what is that something that we can look forward to hearing soon? Is it how often do you intend to really communicate how you've been growing in terms of Ultra?
We want to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. We want to include everyone. We definitely want to stay at the forefront of your minds. So I have a feeling that maybe our next call may be our $1 billion call, which could be quite soon. So you'll be the first to know.
All right. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah.
Ready whenever you are. All right, cool. So that's the last question from me would be, if we were to have this conversation again in, 5 years, what would you think you'd be saying about Ultra 5 years from now? What would revenues be like? What are maybe some of the locations you think you might be in? And if you're planning to list, within that time, what would you think that may do to your overall numbers and growth as a company?
5 years time. Wow, I would say that we would have definitely been listed by then. And I would say within 5 years, I'd really like us to be operating in at least 4 to 5 other countries. Definitely Caribbean wide. And I mean, if I would love it if I could say that we were global at that point. But not biting off more than I can chew at the moment. But we'll definitely be in a couple of
And he might
Caribbean
pick you up on
countries
it,
by then.
so just be careful.
Yeah, I'm sure he's listening. My phone might ring after this, but no, definitely. Yeah. So we're definitely being in the Caribbean by then. In a couple of countries. That's definitely the plans.
Okay. All
And
right.
I mean, at that point, we're looking at a loan book of definitely a couple billion for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. So a couple more questions from our community members here. So Akeem is asking, how about biological assets? Bananas, a banana farm, for example, could such an asset be used as collateral?
So I would say yes, because that land has a title and that land has a value. So you could use the land as your collateral for sure.
Okay. All right. And Lenworth is asking, not sure if this was mentioned before, what are the parameters to be classified as a high net worth client? I think our community members are wanting to know if they're, within
Uh,
that bracket.
so please don't quote me on it, but I think the net worth would have to be that individual would have a net worth of at least $10 million would consider them to be 10 million up would be considered as high net worth. Don't quote me on the exact figure, but I think we are definitely in that range.
Yeah, Trevine just confirmed the high net worth client typically pulls in an income of 10 million and over per annum, or has a net worth of at least 50 million.
Right.
So that's a benchmark, guys. That's your target to get into the high net worth category. All right. So thank you so much, Trevine, as well. So in closing, David, I'll just ask you to maybe, just I guess, we usually ask our CEOs to state, what type of investor they would see in their company. In this case, Ultra is not listed yet. So I'll just ask you to maybe, if there's anything you'd like to say to a potential, client watching, that you may just want to present Ultra to them. The floor is
Um,
yours.
what I will just have to say is Ultra is here for you to unlock the value in your personal assets. Why liquidate an asset to seize an opportunity when you've spent so many years acquiring this asset? Use it, leverage it, come and speak to us. We can help you through this. You can get the financing from Ultra, and we can form and forge a relationship that can last on for many years and bring it to new levels of success. And that being said, this is for everyone who has assets of value and you need to access funds. Come on down to Ultra and we can really make it happen for you.
All right, great, thank you. And I guess you can say, if someone doesn't fall into the category, they can always go to Dollar, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Where the Dollar Financial Group is here for you.
Great. So I think a final question came in here. Gregory's asking, so if you're planning to list separately in the future, then it will be operating separately from Dollar. Hence, the Dollar shareholder won't be benefiting from Dollar share price. I think I understand what you're saying. Any comments here, David?
Yeah, so basically once Ultra lists, then you will have to therefore Dollars business will be dollars business, Ultra's business will be Ultra's business. But we will therefore, implore you to buy Ultra stock when Ultra hits the market.
Yeah. So I guess the benefit would be there until that point, right? Because your business would be growing consistently, which right now will benefit dollars business, but when the separation is there, there'll be two separate entities.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for making the time to be here with us. I think this was great value to our audience.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was a pleasure being here. Pleasure.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for that interview. Again, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to like the video. Let me know in the comments for CEOs you'd like to hear from. We're constantly trying to add to that list, but we'd like to hear from you, who you'd like to hear from, what topics you'd like us to cover, what questions you may have for the various CEOs. Just let us know and we'll try to make it happen. If you actually happen to have a contact for a CEO and you want us to interview them, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact is in the description of this video. Just say, hey, I'm the CEO of X. I'd like to be featured on your platform, and we'll make it happen. Or I know of a CEO that I'd like you to speak to. Just give us those details, and we'll try our best to research the company. If they're not listed, we'll try and get as much information as we can, and then we'll have them on. But we try to get interesting companies that we believe may have the potential to list, so you can either learn about them before it gets to that point, so you can start your research early. Paper Plate, we actually did meet with the JMMB CEO and CFO, so search our channel for that video. We've already done that interview. We may likely meet with them again, but we have met with them before. So yeah, guys, and there are some other things coming out soon, so be sure to subscribe to our channel. Our newsletter will actually be updated. We lost access to the old platform. We were using review from Twitter. Twitter decided to shut it down, so we're going to be starting a new platform. So you haven't seen any newsletters from us for that reason. We haven't switched over platforms as yet, but we'll work on it as soon as we can. All right, so I see those names coming in. We did speak to Richard Pandaway from Separate. He told us Q3 this year, so you can look out for that one. As soon as Q3 starts, I'm going to be reaching out. Proven, well, I actually got the recommendation from someone to speak to Proven, so I'll be working on that one. CHL, Knoxford Express. All right, guys, thank you for that. I'm actually asking you to put it in the comments under the video, not the live chat. The live chat goes away after the video is done. So post it in the comments below the video, please. But I am taking note of the ones you're listing now. So thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the very next video. Check out this other interview that is likely going to be linked, and I'll see you in the next video.
Learning is the key to successful investing. And who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social